I'm Sonya Morton-Firth and you're tuned in to the Sonya Morton-Firth Show. Today, my guest is Mac Attram, entrepreneur, speaker, author, and business coach. In this episode, we discuss what is a wealthy mindset.
We talk about mindset a lot, and that can be overused, but if you don't believe you can create a successful business, you're not going to create a successful business.
The steps to create a winning business.
So if you set a target that, okay, I want to hit 20,000 a month or 100,000 a month, what is the system that's going to get you there?
The habits of a successful entrepreneur.
You've got to create what works for you and stick with that.
Welcome to my show. It's fantastic to see you again. How are you doing?
Hey, Sonia, thank you for having me. I'm well as can be at this moment in time. So thank you for inviting me onto your show. I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited for this conversation and for our audience. For full disclosure, I've known Matt for a few years now. We are very well versed in the personal development communities, as well as being quite out there in terms of speaking and the Speaker Awards. But let's get down to this episode, Matt. So if somebody is tuning in right now, why should they continue to listen to our conversation? What will they get from the end of it?
Wow, that's a great question. Great question to start with. Why should you stay? Well, if you like inspirational stories, one thing you'll know about me is that there was a time when I was down and out. I mean, it was bad. I was over 100 grand in debt. I was struggling. My wife was pregnant with our second child. And I remember stopping my car in the shopping center car park and having this breakdown. Fast forward 2 years' time, through mindset and success principles and reading, I managed to turn all that around and create a life that I'm really happy about. So stay tuned if you're interested in business growth, wealth creation, just success and happiness in life. I've been married for over nearly 24 years now, 3 children. So we can talk all about those things, but so stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Great. And we all want success and happiness in life, Matt. Well, look, you sort of hinted at a bit of your backstory, but I'd like to delve a little bit deeper into who Mac Attram is, and how or what brought you to this point today. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Very good. Thank you, Sonia. So for the past, who am I? Well, I'm a family man. I'm a human being. I love helping other people. But on this physical plane, what I do for the past nearly 2 decades now, I've been training and coaching people, mostly entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs, to actually start their business or grow their business. Typically, clients who come to us will grow their business anything from between 20% and 100% in a year. Most of our clients are coaches, consultants, therapists, these kind of people. And outside of that, I have a real estate property business, which I've had almost 2 decades as well. We invest heavily in real estate. We build apartments and we build houses in West London. So we've got multi-millions worth of stuff there. So that's what I do. I love business. I love real estate. There was a time, as I was saying earlier on, when I found myself in a not a very good situation. There was a time when my wife was pregnant with our second child, and I was working so hard in my first business, which was an IT business. I was working 17, 18, 19-hour days, and I was nearing burnout. And there was a time, I remember one evening stopping my car in this shopping center car park, Americans call car lot, parking lot. And I had my hands on the wheel, sitting there, sobbing and crying, feeling sorry for myself, thinking, I'm such a failure. How did I get here where I'm over 100 grand in debt? I'm struggling. My wife and I constantly argue. I'm hardly around. I haven't seen much of our first child since she was born for a few years. And now my wife's pregnant with our second child. How did I get here? And in that moment, in that evening, as time went on, I felt that I've got to study how to do this. How do successful people become successful? How do they create a life How do they create wealth? How do they have better businesses? So I just went on a journey of self-discovery, and implemented what I learned. Hope that helps.
Wow. And I guess from that, what has been what's sort of your main mission, or what is your main mission today?
Perfect. Thank you. So when I went on that journey of this self-discovery, and I went to different courses, I went to different programs with different trainers, different teachers. And within 2 years, able to fix my business, and I sold that business. And I started investing in real estate and other businesses. And when I had my breakdown, I I prayed, I meditated, I was thinking I need a way out. And if I could find a way to be more successful financially and in life, I'm going to commit the rest of my entire life, and as many people have the same thing. And in the last, and so my mission became clear for me, and I wrote that down many years ago, which is to inspire, educate, and empower people to live a life of joy, courage, passion, and purpose. So I've been living that since 2005. That's been the same mission, and it hasn't changed. It's allowed me to author and publish 4 books. It's allowed me to travel into 50 countries around the world, um, educate and train over 200,000 people in those countries, and it's allowed me to really do what I'm passionate, what I believe is purposeful. Yes, I love business, but purpose for me is helping others to create what they want to create. So that's my mission and purpose, if that makes sense.
Wow, that is amazing. And you have helped so many businesses. The one thing that I wanted to sort of get into is, what would you say? Because you help so many businesses skyrocket and really make a lot of money very, very
Mm,
quickly. And I know you're
yeah.
known for this. What is the secret to that?
What is the secret to that? The secret is this. I'll give you 3. And the 3 is this. One is, we talk about mindset a lot, and that can be overused. But if you don't believe you can create a successful business, you're not going to create a successful business. So have the right entrepreneurial mindset. And the entrepreneurial mindset is different from the academic mindset, and it's very different from the corporate mindset, the employee mindset. Very, you know what I mean, Sonia?
Well, I'm dying to delve into this because I'm a great believer, having obviously done the sort of school university route, where,
Right,
and doing what everyone tells you, your parents, society tells you to do, and then going on and spending 17 years in the corporate life, and
right.
having come out the last 10 years and feeling a real sense of freedom and understanding really how that has impacted your mindset, well, in every aspect, but we're
Absolutely.
talking about wealth here, and we're talking about business. So
That's right.
yes, I completely get it. Sorry, I
No,
interrupted.
no problem. I mean,
Carry
it's a
on.
conversation. So
Yeah.
the first one is that entrepreneurial mindset. And the second thing is, once you have that entrepreneurial mindset, and it's very different from any other kind of mindset, because everything at the beginning, everything's down to you. You've got to figure it out. No one's coming to your rescue. Once you've done that, then you've got to decide on, okay, I'm the business I'm going to start, or the business I'm trying to grow. Let me create a system. And the system simply says, I'm going to follow this process. I'm going to do A, B, C, D, E. And by following this system, I will get consistent results. Okay. So if you set a target that, okay, I want to hit 20,000 a month or 100,000 a month, what is the system that's going to get you there? And the reason why it's important to have a system as an entrepreneur is because if you don't have a system, what happens is you keep testing different things. I mean, there's nothing wrong with testing, but you get sidetracked into things that are not going to make any difference to the end result that you want. And so if you're not a systems person, find someone who can support you and help you do that. But work out um, and work backwards in terms of, okay, we want to hit 100 grand a month. What do we need? What happened before that? What happened before that? What happened before that? And look at that across the whole spectrum, from the not having customers to acquiring customers to really serving them and helping them to be, well, giving them satisfaction and then becoming raving fans. How do they become raving fans? After they've given you their money. So you've got a system in place. Number three, now you've got to have what I say, if you really want to achieve, get accountability. Because as an entrepreneur, really, if you don't want to do it today, you probably just leave it and do it tomorrow. And some people say, I'll do it tomorrow. And next week comes, they still haven't done it. Next month comes, I'll do it next month. But accountability says actually you can then move forward faster. So get a coach, get a mentor, someone who can push you, hold you accountable to the end result that you want. My company does that. We hold people, our entrepreneur clients, accountable so that they can achieve the result they want much, much faster.
And how do you actually keep them accountable? Is it something that you sort of say, right, you've got to hit this target? Or do you give them homework?
Yeah.
Is there a method that you have in place?
Absolutely. With our coaching, we have different type of coaching programs. Our one-on-one coaching program, there's a one-on-one relationship with one of our coaches. And when I say accountability, it's very deep. One is, yes, we do have the homework. Well, we call it home play. We don't want to give those school connotations. So we call it home play. So it's they can have fun with it. Essentially, one of the nuggets we have, one of the fundamentals we have, it's what we call your business dashboard. And your business dashboard really looks at your metrics, your numbers. And our clients, we're asked them to constantly put their numbers in every day, every week, put the numbers in. And there's certain things that we're measuring. And guess what? If you know that these are the activities that will give you the sales result or the profit results you want each month, why would you do anything else? So this is another system, and just put the numbers every single day.
And what are do you see there's a sort of a trend in the activities that are coming out? If someone was a business owner was listening to this and they were thinking, okay, what are the activities? What do I need to be doing more?
Yeah, good question. And for every business, it can be slightly different, right? For every business, so it's a tailor-made dashboard. So let's take, I don't know, a coach. Let's take a coach or a consultant, for example. Coaches and consultants, we know you've got to do something to generate leads. What is that something? For some people, it's speaking on stages. Some people, it's doing podcasts like you. So for some people, it's doing webinars. Some people, it's putting Facebook ads out there, Instagram lives, whatever that is. The idea is to generate leads because people don't know you, right? Unless your name is Anthony Robbins, nobody knows you, right? So, well, even then, I meet people say, who's Anthony Robbins, right?
We know who he is in the personal growth world, but not everyone does.
Exactly. So I'm just giving an example. So what are we doing for lead generation? What are the number of leads that came in today? From the leads, how many conversations do we have? So if you have a sales team, they should be having conversations with those leads. If it's just you, you should be having conversations with those leads. From the leads conversations, how many of those became, for example, how many of those said yes, they want to buy your stuff, right? And then let's go to another part of it, which says, okay, how many of the people said no, but they want you to follow up with them in the future? From there, so there's different parameters. So when we work with a coach, we're saying, so what will get you, what is it you've done in the past that has got you this result? Well, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. And then we coach them through it to say, well, let's look at the number, put these in, let's look at the numbers every week. Let's see what's working, what's not working. So if one parameter is not working, why isn't it working? Is it the way you're approaching it? Is it the system's wrong? So we fix all these things, just like before an air pilot takes off, check, 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 check. They check all these things in order to make sure they land safely. So, yeah.
There's one interesting thing, and I have run businesses before, and the one thing that I think I realize, and I know you talk about this, Mark, is that just because you run a business, it doesn't mean that you're wealthy. And I think a lot of people assume that entrepreneurs or business owners, whatever, however you would like to term it, are wealthy individuals or wealthy people. Can you talk a little bit about your opinions on that?
Very good. Great question, by the way, because not many people ask that question, Sonya. Some people there's two camps here. One camp is the people who create their business just for a lifestyle, right? Fed up with my boss, I'm going to do my own thing. And as long as this business thing I think I have gives me some kind of income, that's okay. We call that a lifestyle business, okay? Then there's another type of business, which when we work with entrepreneurial clients, say, okay, what would happen to you if you weren't able to be in your business for the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months? And often the answer is, well, everything will collapse. I won't have a business. Well, very good. I'm glad you answered that. So what if we helped you to build your business for wealth? In other words, whether you are there or not, that business still continues running. And if that business can be created that way, it means you're still getting income, whether you're there or not. You can work in it if you wish to work in it. And also, it becomes a valuable business asset. It becomes an asset, just like a property that you own, you rent out, becomes an asset. Now you have this asset, you've got a team of people working in it at whatever level, big, small, whatever, that if something happens to you, it still continues running. It's serving people, it's doing the right thing. And so for me, that's the key difference. The lifestyle business needs you to be there all the time. And what I say to people is that if you have a lifestyle business, you don't have a business. You just have another job. That's all it is. You just have another job. You have to turn it. If you have a one that you're creating for wealth or a business asset, that means that regardless of what happens, that's still sustainable. And you can even sell that business in the future if you want to, or just keep the general manager in place while you do other endeavors, whether you love, charity work, foundation work, or whether you want to start another business. But it's a whole process to creating a business for asset.
And isn't there a sort of a mindset around that? Because I think the one thing I learned with my first business was I was very much in the business, and the business was taking over me and my life. And I soon realized, okay, this may be not for me. And I think it's good to have the realization. I had it 2 years in, but when you sort of have that ding that, is this really what I'm looking for? Or was this the idea? Was this the life that I wanted to create?
Mm.
It was very much a mindset thing for me. And at the time I was going through my own personal journey and sort of had that realization. How do you help entrepreneurs with this mindset? Because it is almost a wealthy, a mindset of wealth.
It is. It's a constant. We run different programs, around boot camps, but the idea is letting them know that if you have the right structure in place, then you can create that wealth. And so, yes, it does. I said at the beginning that it starts with the right mindset, and that mindset for us, we use a process where we look at what's the attitude of that entrepreneur. What's their attitude? When I say attitude, how do they think? Why do they believe that way? What are their beliefs? Are their beliefs supporting them or holding them back? The other one is action. Are they taking the right actions? And hence the reason why I say the dashboard. Now, if you are taking the right actions, inevitably you are now going to get the results you're looking for. But if you're off track and not taking the right actions, that's why the coach is there to look at what you're doing. And that third area is the accountability, the coach watching what you're doing. So as I said, attitude, action, and accountability will help you to go there. Now, that's the entrepreneurial mindset side of things. And we go deeper into, let's take attitude, for example, we go deeper into that. So when we're working with these entrepreneurs, we know at some level, deep in their subconscious, something has happened that's either stopping them moving forward or just getting in the way. And so what we do 3 things around attitude. One is help them to unblock their past. Because all of us, whether we like it or not, things have happened in the past. Maybe something happened when you were a child. Maybe something happened to your parents. Maybe as an adult, you got married and got divorced, or your partner cheated. Something has happened somewhere that doesn't give you that full confidence to just go for it, right? So we help them to unblock their past. We help them to unlock their future. In other words, what does the future really look like? When you visualize it, where are you? Who are you with? How much? We help them to really visualize the future. And above all, and the third area is then we also start to help them to unpack their thinking. Unpack their thinking is that often when a coach is working with them, they'll say a word, and the coach will say, you said that. What does that mean? And so, you know, and I know, Sonia, is that some people have what we call stinking thinking. Stinking thinking. They think a certain way, especially those people who are consumed by CNN and the BBC and news and news. And I say, yeah, and often, I remember a couple of weeks ago, I was speaking in Germany, Sonia,
Sorry,
and
I'm
someone,
still laughing at the stinking thinking. I'd forgotten about that one.
right,
Stinking
right.
thinking. I love it.
And yeah, people do, and they're not that they're a bad person, is that they are consuming the wrong information if they want a different result. And
Can you give
I've
an
been,
example of that, Mac? Because
yeah, sure,
I
sure,
think it's so
sure,
important, this part. And I think a lot of people do this, actually.
yeah, sure. I'll give you an example. I was speaking in, which country was it now? Germany. Last week, I was speaking in Germany last week, and we had um, the organizers organize a small gathering, Q&A with Mac Attram, okay? And you can ask him any questions. People ask me questions, I'm answering them on the spot, nothing scripted. One person says, Mac, you've been in property for many years. I'm thinking of getting into property. And what I want to do, I want to create a property portfolio, property empire. And my thinking is this, I'm going to find the right property, put my money in, and build that, to get that first property. I said, fine. So what's the question? He said, but after that, I have to now wait years to acquire more of the deposit to acquire my next property. I said, really? Why? He goes, well, that's how it works. I said, that's true for you, but that's not true for me. And I went to the whiteboard and I wrote down OPM. And what does OPM mean? It means other people's money. You don't have to have your own money to build a property empire, right? So the moment I said that, he looked at me and goes, what does OPM mean? I said, the reason why you believe you can acquire property that way, it's a very old notion, very traditional way of doing things, but there are smarter, more creative ways to do it. So what you're saying is true for you, but it's not true for me. Let me give you an example. I drew it all out. When I finished, he went, oh. And I said, where does that thinking come from? Well, everyone around me, everyone talks about the same thing. Right. So Sonia, you and I know, in order to change, you've got to get in a different environment, whether it's reading different books, going to seminars, workshops, to change that stinking thinking.
And it can take a long, long time. And I guess what that guy said, because I've heard this several times as well, and again, I've got a property portfolio as well, so understand. A lot of people say to me, "Well, how did you do it? I can't afford it.
Mm.
Where how do you buy?" And the thought of them being in debt as well triggers them, and it's like, well,
True.
I wasn't taught to do that, and I've got to pay my mortgage off. And I hear this all the time. Well, what, you don't pay your mortgages off? And it's like, no, 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 no.
Right.
And it's a different mindset. I
Totally different
really
ones.
think we're sort of brought up. I mean, I'm going to say we were brought up to be poor, to be honest.
Well, that's the system, and the system is designed that way. You know, someone else had me on their podcast not too long ago, and I said to them that if you go back historically to the education system and the Industrial Revolution, Germany was very good at this, Prussia rather, a guy called Bismarck. Go and do your research. And what they created is what's called kindergartens. What is kindergartens? Children's gardens, where they'll educate them, get them through the education system, and prepare them to work in these factories, work in these industrial systems that have been created. And that's just gone on for hundreds of years, and people just follow that. There is another way of doing things. And I say to them, look, if you want to stay in that system, you can, it's your choice. But if you want to do something, if you want to create a lifestyle of your choice and do things differently, you have to learn how to do that and then go for it. But it is a challenge because you're always going to be getting pulled back by your friends and family members who will say it's too risky. Why would you want to do a property? You'll have to mortgage on it. Now, what we've got to understand is there is good debt and there's very bad debt. I have millions and millions of pounds of good debt. This debt actually gives me cash flow every single month. every single, lots of cash flow.
Tell me
So,
about that sort of debt, Mac, just to
so,
get into
so
that a little
yeah,
bit.
sure. Yeah. So, someone, you may come into a pile of money, and some people may use that and say, okay, I'm going to use that money to acquire an asset. And that asset could be stocks, it could be cryptocurrency, it could be real estate property, it could be, but some people might say, actually, I've got this money. I'm going to go and buy a brand new car. Now, the moment you buy that brand new car, the moment you take it off the forecourt, it's already lost 30% of its value already, already, just like that. So when I say good debt and bad debt, good debt for me is using the money to build an asset. And often, if you get it right, getting that asset to reward you with what we call passive income. And that passive income means I've got this money coming in. I'll give you an example right here, because people don't realize until time hits them. My father passed away recently, and every single week before he passed away, he was very ill, lung disease, and I spent a year just visiting him in his house. I'll spend 2 or 3 days with him every single week, and outside of that, I'll be with my own family. And I was thinking, how am I able to do that? Well, because I'm not worried about work. I've created systems and processes. In my businesses, I've got teams doing what they need to do. My property business, the same. And I've got all cash flow coming from all these businesses that allows me the freedom to do what I need to do. And in that moment, for a whole year, what I need to do is spend time with my father. Mm-hmm. And I tell you something, I spent more time with my father in that year than I had done previous 40 years.
Mark, that is really powerful, because I think this is the importance of what you're saying here is, if people don't get this right, then they're going to look back and regret, and it's going to be too late.
Yeah. And it's certainly a mindset, like you said.
Definitely. But thank you very much for sharing that. But look, you're here now and you're telling people about how they can change their lives or change their businesses, or actually help their businesses and create the life of freedom where they can spend more time with their family, their friends, or whatever it may be in their life that they want to do, and not look back on regrets. And I think this is part of what I'm doing through my podcast. It's actually, we can create that life. It's not always easy, that's for sure, but it is all about, really, that the first, it's about the mindset, because we have been programmed literally to believe or to think in a certain way, and it's just to keep on challenging that. What would you say the one thing that's had, I guess, the most impact on your personal success?
Wow, good question. If I could narrow it down to one thing, it would be education. It would be education. Just like you, I was from the old school, which said, go to school, study hard, get good grades, get a good job, stay in that good job for years. And we know that having a good job for years doesn't exist anymore. So, but I followed that route for 10 years, and then I started my business. And one thing I came to realize is that there is a big difference, as I said earlier on, between entrepreneurial success and academic success. And so what I realized is, although I've got an MBA, master's degree in business administration, that doesn't really mean anything. Well, it helps a little bit. No, it doesn't mean a lot when it comes to running real business, right? And so what I say to people, you asked me the question about me. Experiential education is more important for me now than academic education. Experiential, so actually learning what works in the real world and applying and doing that. So if I come across someone like Sonya says, hey, you want to achieve this, and I have a system for that, I'll say, hey, Sonya, can I study that? If somebody says, yeah, study it and implement it, you get the same result. And I've done that time and time again. I've done it in businesses. I've done it in real estate property. I've done it in cryptocurrency. I've done it in stocks. Because if someone's, so that's the kind of education I'm talking about. And many people will not, don't even want to spend £100 or $100 on their experiential education, but would spend £100 going to see a show in Broadway or in the in the West End.
And of course, two very different experiences. And I think we're back to what you said, but a little bit like the car, driving the car off the car lot. It's one is immediate gratification, and the other is, and I listened to somebody say this, it's people that have the sort of the not right money mindset, but the wealthy money mindset delay the gratification. They don't look for instant gratification. And I guess that's something that I've always looked at. Funnily enough, I bought my first property in my 20s, a long time ago now. And I remember at the time.
Well, you don't look more than 30.
Oh,
so
thank you. Thank you, Mac. Thank you. But I remember all my friends saying to me at the time, you must be crazy. Why are you buying a property at your age? You can go out and buy a nice handbag or a nice this or a nice that. And it was, or you're tying yourself down, it was almost, you're tying yourself down. I was like, well, I'm going to rent it out. This is how I pay for it, by renting one of the bedrooms out. And that's how I sort of started on the property ladder back then. It was a long time ago, as I say. But I think it's having that mindset, like you said, of do you want to buy the nice car, the nice handbag? And I'm not saying, these things, you don't have to have these things, but if you put something aside and know that that's going to accumulate and give you the future and give you more of the good things that you want, experiences that you want, then that's going to be
Yeah, absolutely. Delayed gratification simply says, okay, let them do, if your friends are going to just buy new cars or spending money on handbags and shoes and all this kind of, let them do that. If you make a conscious decision that in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time, in 5 years' time, I want to be here, right? And then put a process or a system or get the education to get there. And when you get there, then buy as much of it as you want, because now you have the freedom to do that. So delayed gratification helps. But here's for someone who thinks, oh, delayed gratification, I don't know if I can wait. What I say to people, and I do it as well, every morning, write down the things that you're grateful for. Just write down what you are grateful for. And just by writing down what you are grateful for, you'll realize that actually I don't need another handbag. I can wait, because right now I'm breathing. I've got my family around me. Things are good. Even if your mind's telling you, oh, but this business is not going right and I'm not getting enough sales. Taking time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes every morning to write down what you are grateful for will give you more of a blessed day and more of an enjoyable day, because you're not thinking what you're lacking, but what is abundantly clear that you have in your life right now.
Mac, on that note of writing things down in the morning, do you have a morning ritual, a morning routine?
Yes, I do.
Can you perhaps share that with our audience? Because I do find, having spent a lot, a while in the personal growth industry and listening to a lot of people that are successful, and success means different things to different people. So I'm not judging one over the other, but you tend to find people that have achieved what they want in life, or have the things that maybe other people say, oh my gosh, they've got the time and this, that, the other to do these things, and they've got to where they've got to. It's because they have some sort of ritual, routine. Please, Mac, share yours.
Sure. Very, very briefly, because mine's been the same for many years now. And it has been, what I do is when I get up, I have a rebounder, and I rebound on that rebounder.
That's like a little trampoline, if anyone doesn't know. It's like a miniature trampoline.
Exactly. And it just wakes up my whole body. Blood is flowing. And I spent some time doing my martial arts. I've been practicing martial arts for over 40 years now. Right now, for the last 25 years, I've been studying Taekwondo. I'm a 6-dan black belt in Taekwondo, former UK champion in that as well, taught by Grandmaster Trevor Nichols. So But that's something I just do. I just practice. I don't even think about it. I just do it. So I get my physical body moving, and then I meditate and pray. I had my spiritual practice where I meditate and pray just to be grateful that I'm alive right now. And then I have my, I make, in the morning, I make a lemon and ginger. Now I've been throwing in some hibiscus as well, tea, and I just drink that, start cleansing my body. And then, so for me, going through that process, and whilst I'm drinking my tea, I'm doing my my journaling. What am I focused on today? What am I grateful for? Um, to write these things down before I even look at emails and text messages and all that. I just take care of me first.
And some people would say, wow, how do you have time for that? Where do you get the time to do that?
Well, if you think about it, right, it's easy to say, where'd you get the time? But we only have 365 days a year. And if you were making small differences, small changes, you're going to be in a better place, mindset wise, health wise, and all the rest of it. So if you say, I've only got 15 minutes, what I just said, you can get it done in 15 minutes. You say, I've only got 30 minutes, you can get all that done in 30 minutes. You just, you do your physical bit, then you do your morning, your writing if you need to, closing your eyes and staying still in solitude, in silence, even for 1 minute, it's better than no minutes at all. Our mind races constantly. So you can do all that. You've got to decide what works. You've got to create what works for you and stick with that.
So, Mac, I just want to go back to something you said, and it was about your background in martial arts. I think that's amazing. I think I've spoken to a lot of people that have done martial arts as part of, and continued with that practice.
Mm.
What has martial arts brought you that you bring into your everyday life today? I mean, you've just mentioned that you practice it, but in terms of the discipline, has it brought anything?
Absolutely. I think it's helped me through all my trials and tribulations, all my failures, all my successes. Martial arts practice has always been a foundation for me. And since I was a child at school, I was bullied a lot. I took up martial arts, the bullying stopped. Maybe because the way I was carrying myself, I didn't get, so I've had that as a constant. What I find it's brought me over years is discipline and focus. And when I go and train with Grandmaster Nichols, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're a celebrity, you're a multimillionaire, you are down and out, doesn't matter. Everyone's the same. And so now there's no ego. Ego, you drop the ego, you're there to train, you're there to practice, you're there as anybody else. And so I think it's helped me build my character, discipline, as I said, and focus. And my children have watched me do it for years. They've been practicing now themselves for years. And then my wife, who was taking them, started practicing several years ago, around 8 or 9 years ago now. So all my family are black belts in Taekwondo, right? Because I've said go and do it, it's because they wanted to do it and go ahead and do it.
What would, if you had to go back and give your younger self some advice, what would that be, knowing what you know today and knowing the life that you're about to have?
Wow. Great question. I think what I would say is continue as you are. Everything happens for a reason. You won't know what that reason is right now, but stick with it. Don't give up. And in the future, you'll see what this was all about. Stay strong, stay committed, stay focused. I think that's what I'll say to my younger self, knowing what I know now.
And Mac, do you know what it's all been about?
Yeah, absolutely. When I was through all the challenges I've had in my life and all the successes I've had, and coming to a point where I was just going through this breakdown, feeling sorry for myself, I realized that something had to change, and I had to change. So when I went on that journey to change and grow, that's allowed me to have the lifestyle that I have, the marriage that I have for nearly 24 years now, the amazing kids that I have in my life, the ability to inspire and educate other people, because I have that empathy, because I've been there, I've felt it, I know what it's like to struggle in your business and not make money. And so that's what it's been all about. I think it's all led to me realizing that my purpose on this planet, until the day I'm no longer here, is to inspire, educate, and empower people to live a life of joy, courage, passion, and purpose. That's what it's been all about.
I love
I
that.
didn't know that as a child.
I love that, Mac. Where can people find out more about you, or if they want to sort of link up with you, how do they do that?
Sure, yeah. I mean, if you go to www.macattram.com, you'll read up about me there. And also, if you're in business, there's a free business survey quiz that you can take, and you'll get a report based on your answers. You'll get a report in terms of which area of your business you need to focus on now and get right. Otherwise, it's going to bite you on the butt. You've got to fix. So I've created that, and that will help a great deal if you're in business. Otherwise, check me out on any of the socials and reach out if I can help you in anything.
Great. And we'll put the link to your website there. Before we finish, Mac, is there anything that you think our audience should really take away? Or what was the one thing they should really take away from our conversation today?
I think in you asking that question, I think perseverance. So wherever you are right now, whatever's going on, and if you've got the success you've always wanted, then great, congratulations. But then also start thinking, who else can I serve? Who else can I help? And the moment you do that, now you're getting out of your comfort zone again. So you need perseverance to make that happen. If you're not where you want to be, where your desires are, know that perseverance and sticking with it and doing whatever it takes eventually will get you there. If you don't know how to do it, get help. Get someone to support you, get someone to guide you and help you to get there. If you really believe in your heart, that's what you want and that's where you need to be. And it's going to be in service to other people will help you.
That's fantastic, Mac. It's been a privilege and a lovely conversation. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome, Sonia. Thank you for inviting me.